Hello, this is Joseph with IndustrialSage here at MODEX 2018 in Atlanta, Georgia. I have the pleasure to be here with Jason from WayPoint Robotics. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
All right, why don't you got it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about WayPoint?
WayPoint Robotics is a startup. We're about a year old, but my co-founder and I met, like 12 years ago when we worked together at iRobot, and worked together since then on various projects, and we really wanted to bring this product to market. So we started WayPoint specifically to productize that intellectual property.
All right, and what exactly are we looking at today?
So this is the Vector autonomous mobile robot. It's an omni-directional robot, so it can go in any direction, in any orientation. It is completely autonomous, meaning that it can find its way from A to B, irrespective of having to put down paths or putting lines on the ground or wires in the floor or signs on the wall. You can really drop it into the environment without changing the environment, and it will autonomously navigate.
Wow, that's incredible. And I see it's going forwards and backwards and side to side. How exactly is that working?
So the robot has mecanum wheels, and it has independent drive of each of the four wheels, and the wheels have rollers on them that cause it to vector thrust, hence the name of the robot. So each of the four wheels creates its own thrust vectors, and when they all get combined, it has one resulting vector. And sorry for the math lesson.
No, that's really interesting. So when you say it's autonomous, you don't have to set up its path or anything with have it following any lines. Does it have a lot of different sensors inside where it's able to watch where it's going, essentially?
Yeah, so the standard robot comes with 2D planar lasers. We have other navigation packages that include 3D perception systems. There's also inertial systems, and we have exceptionally good odometry inside of the embedded system. So part of our secret sauce is that we do the localization estimate for odometry in the embedded system. We do it at a very high rate of speed in a real-time operating system. So again, sorry for the science lesson.
That's all right. And you said you've got also some kind of an autonomous or a kind of wireless power charging station here?
Yeah, exactly. So we just launched the WayPoint EndZone, which is a wireless power system. People are mostly familiar with wireless charging of batteries, and people are getting more familiar with the idea of opportunity charging, where you can locate a wireless charging system throughout a factory so that if the robot is idle, waiting for something to be put on its payload plate, it can pick up some energy while it's sitting there. One of the special things about EndZone is that we've architected it in a way that we can supply power not just to the batteries in the charging system, but also to payloads that we might put on top of it. So traditionally, if you wanted to create a mobile manipulation platform with an arm on top of the robot, then you'd have to put a lot of batteries on the robot as well. And then that becomes a cost driver. It becomes a packaging problem trying to fit them on there. It eats into the payload capacity, and it's a huge driver of complexity and expense. And you have the maintenance costs over time of maintaining and replacing those batteries as the system gets older. And so with EndZone, we bypass all of that by providing the energy to the payload at the place that it's needed. Because most of the time when you're doing mobile manipulation, the arm's only in use when it's stationary. It's not really driving around manipulating things. And so it's a really great fit of those technologies, and it's something we're really excited about.
That's fascinating. It sounds like really a tremendous product and system that you've got going there. How are you finding that people in the industry, or your customers and end users, are gravitating towards it?
They're really excited about it. So docking is an essential part of autonomous mobile robots. It's something that I always say if you have a need for an autonomous robot, then you have a need for autonomous charging, because having to babysit it by plugging it in or cleaning up the contacts on a charger, it adds to your workload instead of taking away from it. So having a really great charging solution and having the ability to provide energy on demand where you need it is a huge win. The other great thing about this system is that it has a many-to-many architecture. We developed it in conjunction with our partners Robotic, and they are creating a wireless charging standard for robots that that is very robust in terms of alignment relative to the charging system, which is a challenge for wireless power transfer, and it's also a challenge for the robots to always land in exactly the same place. And so their system dynamically adjusts for misalignments, and it makes it a much more robust system. And so we're really glad to have partnered with them on this. And the fact that you can have one transmitter that services many robots makes it a great investment for a company. In addition to powering the Vector, it can also power any of the other robots that we sell, and also power other robots from other companies, which makes it a great investment for the companies. And so while I really hope nobody buys anybody else's robots, it's important to us to give our customers a great value proposition, and part of the benefit of working with Robotic is they're building an ecosystem of charging stations. And the better that works for any of us in the robotics industry, the better it works for all of us.
So, Jason, I see here at your booth, something that I noticed right away is that you have your own company logo here, but actually bigger than the logo is this phrase here, "Workforce First," and some working hands there. Tell me a little bit about that and why it's featured so prominently.
Yeah, that is the heart and soul of our company. We started with a foundation of an excellent robot, and because we have a solid robot with great navigation, we're able to work on simplification. And what Workforce First means to us is that we want to go into a functioning operation, a manufacturing operation or a logistics operation, and we want to go to the people who have been there for 15 years, who love their job, the companies love them, and they need to grow. And they've had a for hire sign in the window for 3 years, and they either can't find people or they can't retain people for that kind of work. And we're making a product that we can take to the people who are already there and make it so simple that they can operate it. They can set it up, they can set the waypoints, and they can put it to work right away. So we hear a lot about, in the robotics industry especially, the skills gap of trying to have workers that used to work in one role or another, learning how to do other jobs. And the way we approach the skills gap is, rather than trying to bring those workers into some place new, we want to meet them where they are and give them the tools they need to be a more efficient, more valuable part of the company that they're already a part of, and increased their value to their company. So it's really about empowering them and making a system that is simple enough that they can put it to work right away. It's all about simplicity, and we believe that accessibility is the essential thing to having robotics be adopted more broadly. So that's completely our focus.
That's really fantastic. I was actually just having a conversation with a friend the other day about all this new technology coming out, and companies adopting autonomous robots and things where they have a big workforce, and how are they going to protect a large workforce from becoming obsolete, because they may not be able to understand the technology that's coming in. So I imagine that the workforce and the companies and people in pretty much every spectrum of this system are pretty excited about something that they can learn and adapt to quickly.
Well, I think about it a lot, and for me, I really want the person who's been doing the same job. Maybe they're a shipping and receiving clerk, or maybe they're the person who does the material handling between the machinery and the parts warehouse or whatever. I want to go in and I want to take that person and say, yesterday you were a shipping and receiving clerk, and today you're a roboticist. I want them to go home that night after they get the training on the robot and say, like, yeah, I do robots now, and I want them to be proud of it. And we're building equipment that they can understand and they can put to work right away, and they can operate it with confidence. And I really think it's a different way to see robotics. And a lot of my colleagues in the industry, I don't hear them thinking that way. They think about, people will find other jobs to do. They'll find other interests to pursue, and I meet so many people who love their job, who love their company. They want to keep doing it, and I want to help them keep doing it.
That's great, and that does sound like a really tremendous value proposition. A lot of really exciting new technology, and kind of a newer company. How are you getting the word out about yourselves and about some of the products that you're producing?
We do a ton of inbound marketing. That's really the main focus of our marketing efforts. Everything is branched off of inbound. We also do trade shows, which we find to be a great way to connect with people. When we go to a show like this, the connections we make, if it's the right show and it brings people together, having a chance to see the robot in person, see that it's real, see how heavy duty it is, how well built it is, how well it navigates, seeing that in person is essential. So we find we use our inbound marketing techniques to create awareness of the brand, create awareness of the products, and to generate interest. And then when people come to the show, then we can reinforce it with seeing it for themselves. And that has worked really well for us.
I imagine being here in person and looking at it, seeing it moving around so easily, especially in the hands of that controller. It's there's really nothing like it. So getting people to come here, through inbound strategies, what kind of inbound are you using in particular?
Well, we do a lot of work with respect to content creation, and we do a lot of work within the community. We get involved. We participate in events in our local area. So Boston, we're in New Hampshire, and so Boston is one of the epicenters of robotics development in the world. And so being involved with that community, participating in all of the industry helpers that exist in Massachusetts is a big part of it. Being in touch with the companies that put on shows like this and conferences, being involved in the ROS community. We're big believers in open source, and we're big believers in giving our customers the opportunity to make modifications to the robots if they need to. That's a key differentiator with WayPoint versus other companies. Most of them are very locked down. And we come from a place of selling to entrepreneurs and developers and researchers, and so the ability to hack on your own hardware is sort of a key tenet of who we are. And we believe it's valuable to industrial customers as well, because if you're going to spend all the money to switch to a robotic operation for something, it's a very fundamental and very significant change to the way you do work. And you need to have the confidence that 2, 3, 5 years from now, if you need to repurpose that robot or you need to add something to it or take something away, that it's going to be flexible enough for you to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're taking advantage of all the different networks and community that you have around you. Obviously, being close to Boston is going to be a huge advantage there. Yeah. And then producing a lot of content. I got a good insight into how you're getting involved in your surrounding community, business community, within the robotics and Boston abroad. What kind of content are you producing?
We do a lot of, I'll call it general educational content. So we talk to lots and lots of customers who have amazing ideas for what to do with our robots. It's my favorite part of the job, is being on the phone with a customer and hearing what amazing new idea somebody has for a robot. And so we'll feed off of that, and we'll start to see common misconceptions that accumulate over time, and then maybe we write a blog post that helps clarify that. We have an ebook that we update periodically that gives people a much better idea of how they should approach implementing robotics and even how to shop for robotics. So we try to develop content like that. Some of it is related to what's happening lately in the industry or what's happening in the community, but most of it is just about, if we hear from customers that they think they should only need a Microsoft Kinect or something to do 3D perception, and when in reality their application needs a VLP16 or something like that, clarifying for our customers in advance. We feel like it gives something to them and establish us not only as a credible source of information, but also somebody who's interested first in helping them understand robotics. And once they understand it, then we think they're going to choose to do business with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So providing valuable, relevant content from both your customers and for prospective buyers.
Exactly.
That sounds really great. So, Jason, if before we end here, if anybody wants to get in contact with you or with your company, what's the best way to reach you and learn more about?
The best way to reach us is to go to waypointrobotics.com and click on the Contact Me form, we'll be in touch.
Sounds great. Well, Jason, thanks again for your time, and good luck for the rest of the show.
Thank you very much.
You take care.